This is Biden's economy because we took over on January 20th, and I think you have to get us a little bit of time to get moving.
The U.S. gross domestic product declined at a 0.3% annual rate in the first quarter of 2025. But does the GDP tell the whole story? Did the economy actually shrink? Because we're getting mixed signals. And helping us to clear it up and factor in the tariffs is Arizona economist Jim Rounds of Rounds Consulting.
Okay, Jim. Now, the D in GDP obviously stands for domestic. So was all of the economic activity buying up imports to try to beat tariffs not logged in the GDP?
Well, it was and it wasn't. And I was trying to think of a simple way of explaining it. So when you add up GDP, it's all the stuff that we make.
Right.
When you, it's consumption, it's investment, and it's also government expenditures. Now, in those categories are some of the things that are included in imports. So when we subtract out imports from the equation, we're just correcting for some accounting problems up above. So GDP really isn't impacted directly by the imports because it still just measures what we make. But the problem is if we're spending more money on these imports because we're trying to get ahead of the tariffs, then what does that mean? We have less money to spend on other things locally, so it would depress GDP some. We're not filling up inventories as much as we would. We're not spending on other inputs that we normally would. So it has this indirect impact, but a lot of people think because that equation subtracts out imports at the very end, that it's a 1-to-1 ratio.
So with import buying, being front-loaded by businesses and consumers even this year, will we see an economic slowdown later because of that?
Well, we're already starting to see things slide. If you look at the other measures, like I like to look at employment, we're already starting to see those numbers slide. We're even seeing that weakening in Arizona. So the numbers were trending down, and it was looking like one of those soft landings that we've talked about, where you have kind of a mild recession. We bounce along for a couple or 3 months at lower rates, and then it improves. Well, now it's going to be just a little bit different. It's going to be a sharper downturn when we have it because we are going to have to make adjustments. Keep in mind that we're collecting this tariff revenue, but we're collecting it from Americans, so they have less money to spend, and we're going to see inflation go up, which is going to be a problem. So the tariffs are having an impact on things that are going to go well beyond just the normal GDP equation. It's going to have a bigger impact on our ability to grow over a longer period of time.
So if you could just, for the sake of our edification, distill this down in how this affects, maybe Arizona's economy and, us on the ground, the people who are just trying to watch our stock market stuff and keep ahead.
So on the stock market, you're going to continue to see volatility because even though we've been discussing tariffs for a while, are we really sure what's going to happen next quarter? Are we really sure what's going to happen the quarter after that? So that's going to go up and down. So it's going to be scary for people that are in retirement or near retirement. In terms of overall economic activity, we're already headed towards a mild recession at some point in the next year and a half. I think it'll happen sooner than that, which means we're going to see more job losses, and you'll have fewer opportunities to get decent raises at your current place of work. Businesses are going to have to tighten their belts a little bit. You're going to see fewer help wanted signs in the windows, which means people looking for work might have a little bit of a harder time finding it. And we'll have to see how things balance out. This is a lot of people were thinking this is going to be a really quick fix. It's not. This is going to go on for a long time.
So do you think at some point or another the fiscal conservatives get a hold of this administration and say, hey, look, guys, we got to pull back here? Or do you believe that Donald Trump is just going to move forward with these tariffs and we're going to see this economic turmoil that may lead eventually to something nice and stable?
I think that there's a lot of people, even friends that I know that are very conservative, that have some concerns about what's going on. But at the same time, you have to be very careful on the political side. You have to be very careful with what you say and you don't say, mostly what you say. So there's more concern about it out there than I think is indicated if you just talk to each of the individual parties. The Democrats are making a big deal out of it, of course. The Republicans are saying this is going to be good for the economy long term. Tariffs in general are not good. If this results in us getting rid of tariffs on both sides, that's fantastic. But this again, doing that is not going to be an easy task. We're dealing with tariffs with China and with Mexico that are part of other negotiations, so that's not an easy fix. It's just really messy at a time where the economy was already slowing, and I think we're going to have a slightly more severe recession than we otherwise would have. And I wouldn't be surprised if maybe next quarter we had a slightly positive GDP. The quarter after that we had a decline, then we had another decline, and maybe by the end of the year we do start a mild recession. But my honest answer is I just don't know.
Yeah.
Because there's too many things going on, and when you don't know, what do? You got to kind of prepare for the worst.
All right. Thanks a lot. That is Jim Rounds of Rounds Consulting.